Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and confront an invisible enemy that's literally destroying homes, heavy industries, and agriculture all over the world. I'm talking about hard water. It's this universal challenge flowing right under our noses, fundamentally wrecking our infrastructure from the inside out. Seriously, whether you're running a massive manufacturing plant, managing the AC systems that keep critical server databases cool, or just trying to keep your washing machine alive at home, hard water is quietly draining your resources. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how much this is costing us, look at the fascinating science of why it happens, and then explore a truly elegant modern solution that fixes it without using a single drop of chemicals. Now, the sheer scale of this hidden destruction is just staggering. Picture this: massive industrial pipes and heating elements completely choked off by sharp, crystalline limescale. We're talking brutal corrosion eating right through metal, and these sticky, gross bacterial biofilms completely taking over. And look, this isn't just an ugly aesthetic issue. When dissolved minerals, like calcium and magnesium, hit heat or pressure changes, they physically precipitate out and bind to your plumbing. The water flow gets blocked, and the thermodynamic properties of your million-dollar machinery are just totally ruined. Think about throwing away literally half of your capital investment. When we look at heavy industry, places relying on massive boilers for power generation or manufacturing, hard water is an absolute silent killer. This scale buildup can slash an expensive industrial boiler's lifespan by up to an astonishing 30 to 50%. I mean, imagine the budget nightmare of replacing a heavy-duty boiler in half its normal lifetime, just because the water feeding it was quietly laying down a thick blanket of insulating rock on the inside. And on a day-to-day operational level, it's a total financial disaster. Just one single millimeter of scale, a layer thinner than a dime, literally, triggers a massive 10 to 15% drop in cooling efficiency. If you're operating chillers for a giant commercial building or managing strict temps for semiconductor chip manufacturing, your heat exchangers are suddenly trying to work through a layer of stone. Boiler heat transfer drops 10 to 30%. And because the machinery is working so much harder, you see a 3 to 5% spike in CO2 emissions for every single millimeter of buildup. You're burning more power, spiking your carbon footprint, and paying sky-high energy bills. This just cascades into catastrophic recurring costs from major facilities. Like, think about the massive AC units keeping databases from melting down, or the ultra-pure water you absolutely need for chip manufacturing, or power generation. Untreated hard water triggers a total efficiency collapse. These industries need purified or conditioned water to function, right? But traditionally, getting that at an industrial scale is incredibly costly. It relies on heavy, toxic chemicals, and it wastes a massive amount of water. If you operate cooling towers or large-scale HVAC systems, you are silently bleeding money on three major fronts. First up, energy. Your chillers and pumps have to work overtime to push through restricted pipes, right? That leads to 5 to 15% higher electricity bills. Then, to fight the scale, facilities end up dumping excessive anti-scalant chemicals into the water, which drives chemical expenses up by 20 to 30%. Oh, and that doesn't even factor in the agonizing downtime and maintenance costs of frequent, highly corrosive acid washes, which can run you anywhere from $20,000 to a lakh per session. For boiler systems, the numbers are just as wild. You actually need more fuel just to maintain your normal output, because that scale acts like insulation. The data estimates a 2 to 3% increase in fuel use per millimeter of scale. So for a mid-size industrial setup, all these headaches combine to create an increased operating expense of, wait for it, 1 to 5 lakhs a year. That is pure profit, literally washed down the drain, just trying to fight heat transfer drops and constant equipment failures. But the damage isn't just mineral buildup. It's brutal structural corrosion. It accelerates under the scale, and it gets so much worse with something called microbial-influenced corrosion, or MIC. Basically, certain harmful bacteria form sticky biofilms and create localized corrosion, literally eating tiny pinholes into the metal surfaces of copper and galvanized pipes. The old-school way of dealing with this was just dumping toxic brine and harsh chemicals into the system. It's terrible for the environment, and it's terrible for the bottom line. We desperately need a modern, intelligent solution. Okay, so here is the million-dollar question. How do we actually stop this bleeding without dumping toxic chemicals into our systems? How do we give industries and homes the perfect water they need without the massive waste and crazy reoccurring expenses of those traditional salt-based softeners? Well, enter HydroPulse. This is an absolute game changer, and it's where we finally turn the tide. It's a cutting-edge, 100% chemical-free and salt-free electronic water conditioning component. It tackles hard water right at its core, offering premium, effortless water conditioning for literally everything. Domestic, commercial, industrial, agriculture, you name it. It's a beautifully simple concept wrapped in highly advanced technology, giving you a zero-maintenance, totally eco-friendly way to protect your entire water network. The science behind how it does this is absolutely fascinating. It uses what's called Hydro-Polarization technology. So instead of using harsh salt to chemically alter the water, the unit sends these precision-tuned electromagnetic waves directly into the water flowing through the pipes. These waves target the active calcium and carbonate ions, the exact culprits behind hard scale. The signal magnetically forces these ions to cluster together and form stable, tiny, neutral crystals. And because they're stable and neutral now, they stay completely suspended in the water. They just flow freely, passing right through your system without ever sticking to the internal surfaces. When you contrast this sleek technology with the old, clunky legacy softeners, the difference is just staggering. I mean, legacy systems rely on ion exchange. That means bulky tanks, huge plumbing modifications, and lugging around heavy bags of salt for refills. Worse, they waste a ton of water through constant backwashing and discharge toxic brine that dumps harmful sodium right into the soil. HydroPulse? Zero salt. Zero water wastage. It's 100% safe for your garden, and it uses a compact clamp-on design that literally requires zero plumbing cuts. Just imagine crystal clear water flowing smoothly through your pipes. As it passes the HydroPulse component, this continuous wave is induced into the water. Now, not only does this stop new scale from forming, but the technology has this incredible secondary effect where it gradually softens and breaks down existing hard scale over time. The old crusty scale just dissolves into the water and flushes away. So you aren't just protecting brand new pipes, you're actively healing and restoring the efficiency of your old, compromised heat exchangers and boilers. The difference really is night and day, especially on the biological side. We mentioned biofouling earlier, algae and bacteria ruining filtration systems. Well, when water passes through the HydroPulse signal inducer, the electric field actually charges the bacterial and algal cells. This charge creates a protective hydration layer around the cells that drastically spikes the osmotic pressure inside them. Unable to handle the pressure, the bacterial cells safely swell up and just rupture from within. It completely neutralizes biofouling without a single drop of toxic biocide. And the beauty of this elegant little device is its widespread impact across the board. In an industrial plant, it extends equipment life and slashes maintenance. In a commercial hotel, spot-free glassware and protection for massive pipe networks. Out in agriculture, it drastically enhances soil quality because you aren't dumping sodium into the earth anymore. And right at home, it stops scale, protects your expensive washing machines, and gives you softer, ultra-clear water that gives you glowing skin and is way gentler on your hair. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A system this advanced, something providing electromagnetic protection on this scale, must require a massive plumbing overhaul, right? Like a team of engineers and days of downtime. Actually, no. That couldn't be further from the truth. The design is unbelievably user-friendly. The installation is an incredibly satisfying four-step process. First, you just find a clear, straight section of your existing pipe. Second, you secure the mounting bracket to the pipe with heavy-duty cable ties. You literally just strap it on. Third, click the main HydroPulse body onto the bracket. And fourth, plug the power adapter into a standard outlet and check that the green light is on. That is the whole shebang. You don't cut a single pipe, you don't even have to turn off the main water supply. You clamp it on and let the tech do its thing. The absolute biggest takeaway here is the total lack of friction. No plumbers tearing up your home, zero maintenance once it's plugged in, and an instant upgrade to your efficiency. And the barrier to entry is shockingly low. The sources note that the domestic Marlin series, perfectly designed for apartments and bungalows, starts at just 35,999 rupees. When you factor in the extended life of your appliances, lower energy bills, and ditching expensive chemicals, the system practically pays for itself in no time. So we've seen how this invisible enemy quietly destroys efficiency, spikes energy consumption, and causes catastrophic failures everywhere, from a simple home dishwasher right up to massive power generation boilers. But we've also seen how a brilliant shift in technology, using precision electromagnetic waves, solves it elegantly without harmful chemicals or wasteful salt. As we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this. Knowing the intense hidden costs of untreated hard water, why keep paying for the damage when the scientifically proven zero-waste solution is literally just a clamp away?